Good day to you, my friends. My name's Donato and welcome to today's daily show, and it's number 33. Yes, 33. And in this one I'll be doing a review of my races in 2018. Oh, better answer the phone. Oh yes, answer that phone quickly. So yes, welcome guys. That brief interruption. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'm really grateful and eternally grateful for those wonderful messages that you left after yesterday's vlog in terms of why I continue to share my journey with you. And I'm just going to go through. Words are not enough, and I've messaged back everybody who's responded, and some private messages as well, but there's words are not enough for me to describe how much that makes me feel good. It's very humbling to know that this little channel, little old me, can have such an impact on so many people out there, guys, gals like you. So thank you all so much for taking the time and leaving those wonderful comments, and I really do appreciate it. So yes, without further ado, 2018, how am I going to review the races now? Let me have a quick sip of my tea. And yes, it's lemon and ginger again today. So the way I'm going to review these is a lot of people have medals and they do like their medals, and I really do like the medals, but I'm going to go through them, and the way that I'll use it is by the bibs. Yeah. Now this is the New York City Marathon bib, and the reason why I go through the bibs, right, this is the medal, New York City Marathon medal. Nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's beautiful. But for me, only I have this one. It's unique to me, it's my number, nobody else has that number. Whilst this medal is a brilliant medal, everybody has that medal. Yes, I know I can engrave it on the back, it becomes personal to me, but everybody has that medal. So for me, when I see this brings back the emotions and the joy and in this particular one, the pain of going through, because this was the one that qualified me for Boston this coming April. So it's a very special bid for me. 9317, yeah, that was me. I came in a little over 3 hours 20 and X seconds. So whilst it didn't qualify me for London Marathon, good for age, it did qualify me for Boston Marathon. Yeah, and so I've got that really much looking forward to in 2019. But here's to talk about 2018. It all started off obviously with the new year started like a lot of New Year's, and tomorrow will be no different. I'll be getting up and going up onto the Great Malvern Hills and watch the sunrise as it comes down and greet the new year with how I do it. And there's lots of people who do that in a similar way, greet it with the sunrise and so on and so forth. That's just me, that's how I do it. That's how I roll. So it started off really well, or so I thought. Within the first few weeks I picked up a back injury in the gym doing the cross training, strength and conditioning. Picked up a back injury, so was laid off for a week or two, but went into a delayed race. For those of you who remember last year, or this time last year, there was a lot of snow and a lot of races were being postponed, cancelled, and one of them was the Keyworth Turkey Trot that, you know, I'd done that in December this year. Well, it was postponed to February, and yeah, this was the Keyworth Trot. This was in February, I can't remember the exact date, beginning of February, early February, 317. So I was going into this race with a fair bit of caution, thinking, you know, I've come out of my back injury, but I always do, and with all the races, unless I'm pacing, and I'll go through some of those where I was pacing, unless I'm going through certain things, I will always do my best. So I went out there and done the best I could in those conditions and how I felt, and it was freezing, really freezing. I don't think I had so many layers. At the time I've never raced with so many layers. Obviously, as we know, Boston I came into more layers, but this one I was really layered up. It was freezing cold, so I had the leggings, the top and everything, and really went for it. And came in with a time just over 90 minutes. I think it's around 91 minutes. But to cap it all off, what did I win? Hey! I won this trophy, which was the good for age 55 to 60. So I was really pleased. First race, first trophy, brilliant start, eh? So I felt really good about that, and it was fantastic. But then on to my second race. And this was 146. Now this one, there was no medals given out, so I couldn't show you a medal anyway. And by the way, there was no medals given out at the turkey trot either. So so I had this bib, and this was the Rugeley 10, I think it's called, or Rugeley 9. And how I remember that one, I mean, I had a training run, it was a long training run that day, so I combined a very good run beforehand, and then the race in the middle, and then another long run at the end to make it up to the 18 miles. That was one hell of a tough race, really, really tough for me, because it was so hilly. I mean, the hills were sort of like that, but again, you race as good as you can. I think the last mile was just an absolute blitz downhill, so it totally smashed me quads, but very enjoyable. Didn't win any age category races in that, but it didn't really matter. It was just part of the training for me, and I thought I'd try something new. And it was a great race, and it's one that I would recommend if you're looking to do it and you live in the Staffordshire area, Midlands area. I think it's called the Rugeley 9, the Rugeley 10, but really good, very well organised, like a lot of these local races, and that one as well. And the Keyworth Trot one is, they use the facilities at local schools, local clubs and so on, and whilst it's not like the big city races, it is very well organised, and there's large numbers. It's in the hundreds, I think. I can't remember the exact number on this one. It might have been over 1,000. I know the Keyworth Trot is over 1,000 as well. So it's a fair, decent number, running around the lanes, and it is beautiful countryside. I do love those races. But unfortunately, not long after that, we came to, well, I was working all over the place, and the beginning of January I was already in Switzerland, having to do my training out there. So wherever I work, that was where the training was. And at the time I was out in the spring, early spring or late winter, however you want to call it, February, in the Isle of Man, and we had that snowstorms again and the beast from the east, and it was some torrential conditions, rain running in. And little did I know how much that would prepare me for my main A race, which was Boston. But unfortunately I became very ill in March, and early March, and something I've not experienced in a long time. Whilst we get old, sometimes my memory goes a bit or whatever, but I can't remember the last time I was ever this sick. I mean, I had a fever and I was sweating buckets in bed, and it was bad, you know, like a long weekend of just, I think it was the Friday night it started, sweated out so many buckets, and again Saturday and Sunday, and started to feel better. But there was bugs going around in the office, and there's lots of people being ill with the fever, so I guess I caught the same bug. And that knocked me out for a couple of weeks of not being able to run properly. And then when I did get back out into the running, I then get tendonitis, and yeah, the feet, ankles, all sorts, it was just going to pieces. And my big concern was obviously because it kept inflaming on all the long runs. So I went to see a physio, and I said, look, not only have I got one marathon, I've got 2 marathons. And all they could say was literally just hope. That's all I had, was hope, really, that I could get there to the start and hope to do the best I could. Now, whilst with Boston and with a lot of these major races in the city, is the hotels are booked, accommodation, you know, flights booked, everything's booked, so I'm going anyway. So I was getting the memories coming back of New York, and obviously the injuries that I picked up for New York, and then but it put me in a good stead, thinking if I can overcome that at New York, surely I can overcome this for Boston. But little did I know, you know, here's the bib for Boston. Little did I know what weather was in store for me on that day. If you've seen the race, I mean, I'll put the links as I'm going through, links to the races for these that have happened in the year. It was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I was as well as, I mean, in a way that the weather took my mind off the injury that I had because all I was thinking about was the weather and how bad it was. And we'd had forecasts, and often the forecasts are wrong, but in America or whatever, this forecast was spot on. I mean, we did have snow the day before, and that snow hadn't cleared by the morning of the race, and it was just raining and raining and raining. I mean, even my intro at the start, I had to do the intro in the car park, and so that I didn't get soaked through just doing the intro. It was, I can't put into words. I mean, even that torrential rain that I had in the Isle of Man, I thought that was bad, but the weather at Boston was, it was just incessant rain, incessant winds. It was gale winds, headwinds at that. It was bonkers. Bonkers. But you know what? When you get to that race, the thing with these amazing races, and Boston is like the flagship. This was my first Boston, and for me, it was like an amazing achievement. I've qualified. Here we are at, for me, it was like the Olympics, my Olympics of a marathon race. And the heavens decided to open up and the winds were gusting, and I'm thinking, what the hell? But what I found is with Boston marathoners, these people who've qualified, these guys and girls are made of steel. We got to the start of that race and I think I was wearing everything but the kitchen sink. Yeah, I had me poncho on, I had layers, tracksuits, leggings, everything. I was layered up to the hilt because I knew it'd be cold and wet and windy, and I thought that I would get to the start and I would disrobe as you do at the start of the race, and off we go. But you saw it was so freezing. I kept everything on, everything, including the poncho. And if you looked at the start of the race, people at the start of the race, we were all in the same ponchos. We were all in this together. There was 30,000 of us. Well, I think it was about 28,000 at the start, because I think 2,000 didn't turn up to the start of the race, but 28,000 of us were at that start, and I was just overcome. I thought, right, let's go. Let's just go. Because I was afraid that I would not finish that race. What with the injury, with the weather, I was absolutely terrified. I went into that Portaloo shaking with cold and fear, and it was even now it brings back, yeah, goosebumps on my arms. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying for me. I just let the weather take me over. But once we got going and I was chatting with the guys, I think it was the French Canadians, I think they're from Quebec, Montreal. Sorry guys if I don't remember exactly where you were from, but I got chatting with them. I'm filming with my GoPro and we're going down there and I'm surrounded by all these runners, and we're all running all at the same pace, all together. We've all qualified at the same zone. We're all corralled with the same racers. We are all in it together. And I just forgot the weather and just carried on. And I was filming, obviously cleaning the lens as and when to take the rain off, so at least you could see something of the race. And when I got to that screen mile, that was at mile 12, the screen tunnel I think they called, the Western College girls, I mean it was incredible. And yes, I think I kissed quite a few of those girls, and thank you ladies for all being there year after year. Those ladies are there, and bear in mind we were all freezing cold running. The thing to those girls and ladies out there and all the spectators along the whole course, it was freezing. So my hat's off to each and every one of those spectators, but in particular the volunteers who make that race happen. It's freezing cold conditions, torrential rain, and I really do feel. But when I literally disrobed as much as I could to literally show my number, to at least get a picture at the finish of the race. And then when I finished and got this medal, I just felt on cloud 9 for about 10 seconds, and then the hypothermia started to creep in and I was shaking and getting really cold. But again, there's people all around us, and other runners spotted this and came around me, and I remember some guys putting literally their arms around me, giving their body heat, and I was fine. Picked up my bag, got to the hotel, and yeah, that was Boston. Incredible race, one that I'll remember forever, and one, little did I know how much it would prepare me for other races to come. and the next race, yeah. So I thought the cold, wet and wind was one thing to contend with. And then when I was getting the messages on the vlog about London weather, the forecast for London weather, yes baby, yeah baby, London, yeah. Sorry about that guys, the battery went flat on the camera. So yes, as I was saying, yeah, London baby, London baby. Yeah, here's the medal for London. Gosh, battery running flat halfway through my vlog, eh? You couldn't make it up, could you? Yeah, so in a way, how serendipitous is that when I finished Boston, I think my batteries had gone flat. And yeah, so these things happen, don't they? Which leads me on, as I say, serendipitously onto London Marathon, where people are leaving comments saying, you've just had the extreme cold, wet and wind of Boston, you're now going to have extreme heat in London. So little did I know, obviously, being relatively new to all this, I thought you just go out, run marathons, and then you can go and run another one. So I ran Boston on the Monday, and then the following Sunday, yes, I had London Marathon. So I flew back from Boston, arriving in London on the Friday morning, and going to the expo on Friday, and I was pretty tired and exhausted from that. And yeah, London Marathon, I thought that, yeah, I could recover enough and go out and run it. Now, in hindsight, I probably would have postponed it, deferred it, but as I made a commitment to run that for a particular charity, I wasn't bottling out. I was going to go for it. So I went out on the Saturday morning just to check that my legs could move, and fortunately they could move. Unfortunately for me, at the start of the race, once I got moving, with the first few hundred yards, I could feel my legs were already shot to pieces. But you just keep going, so I was literally taking it a mile at a time, and it was great to see so many of you guys out there cheering, waving, and it helped. It really did help, and the crowds out there in London are fantastic. It was just one of those races where, I don't know, like Boston, you know, maybe these things all happen for a reason, and I gotta say, I really did enjoy it in a way, and because of the weather, for me, it helped me enjoy it more because it was sunny, it was, and I was literally just jogging it out. I couldn't really race that at all. Whilst I was going out at a fair pace at the start, and I had a good chat with the 3-hour pacers who caught up with me, and then the 3-hour 15 pacers, and then the 3-hour 30 pacers, and then the 3-hour 45 pacers. Yes, they all went flying past me, and it was quite an epic race in many ways. You know, seeing so many people and having a great dance. I think with the Run Dem crew at mile 21, 22, somewhere around there, or mile 19, wherever it was in that East End of London, it was fantastic. And doing those moves, I'll remember that forever. It was fantastic. And of course, I think it was the last 8 miles, I was pacing that guy in the straight jacket. I don't remember him. Yeah, I think I've put the link in the race up there, and he finished ahead of me. Cheeky bugger. But no, I was completely out of it, and the last, I would say the last 25 miles of that race was pretty tough, yeah. So pretty much the whole race was tough as hell, and I walked a fair bit because my legs were just so cramped up and stiff and tired out from Boston, and came in 4 hours, a little over 4 hours, hey. My slowest ever marathon, but hey, I really did enjoy it. I think the crowning glory was in the last straight, where a guy dressed as Big Ben went running past me, and I thought, yeah, here we go. Now, when things like that happen, it can be extremely demotivating, and you sort of think you've put in all that training, all that effort, but we've got to keep things in perspective. I certainly like to keep things in perspective, and for me, you know, a lesson learned as a novice, running 2 marathons, or trying to race them anyway, in 6 days isn't really a good idea for me. Now I might be quite different. I've done a lot more training, my body has grown, developed, and maybe I could do that, who knows. But that was certainly a lesson learnt for me. So that was London Marathon done, and wow, what a great race, what a great race. So it was a bit demotivating, but then I decided to, me being me, and I haven't posted this, and it was a secret race that I didn't tell anyone, and I've not even posted it on here yet. I've got recordings and I may edit it and publish it, but I did go and run another marathon in May, just to see the legs moving, and the legs were moving a lot better having recovered, and that in a way sort of prepared me for the training to start for Chicago. So yeah, I'd done that secret marathon that I didn't tell anyone. But then once I'd finished that marathon, towards the end of May, I think it was mid-May I had that marathon, and then a week later I had this, the PITCHCROFT 10K, and there is a medal, and this one's really special to me. It's at Worcester Racecourse, flat as a pancake, and I was there my first ever time that I was pacing someone to run their first 10K, and that was Lawrence, my friend Lawrence. Now I didn't video any of this. Well, firstly I forgot to bring my GoPro with me, but there's no movies, no anything of this particular race, and as you may know, with Lawrence being a beginner, he had a goal of doing it around, I think, 50 minutes, 52 minutes. That's what his training was showing him, and he thought, yeah, let's go for that. So I did give him some strict instructions for the PITCHCROFT 10 not to look at the race. Now it's a 2-loop race, and we were going a good clip and being well within that 50-minute pacing strategy. And Lawrence at the first 5K, because obviously went round, says, oh, 1 lap to go. He looked at his watch and decided to slow down a bit. So he did slow down a bit, but what was brilliant is he just kept going and going and going, and I managed to get him in 49 minutes and something seconds, so within the 50 minutes, and he was absolutely over the moon, to the point where his wife didn't believe him that he ran that time. Yeah, so he had the medal. Sorry for that brief interruption again. So yeah, the battery went flat. Not the battery, but the ran out of memory disk. But anyway, the PITCHCROFT 10, yes, PITCHCROFT 10. Lawrence's wife didn't believe the time, but yeah, the chip time was there. Fantastic race, and really happy for Lawrence. Beginning of great things, eh, Lawrence? So the next race was another 10K. This was the Simply Health Birmingham 10K. And another hot day, another really hot day, but again so hot that whilst I wanted to go out and race it and maybe get a PB, it was definitely bring it down type weather. So I didn't race for a PB. I think I came in about 42 odd minutes. It felt really good, went out nice and easy, and then I think the last 2 or 3K I did pick up the pace a bit. Really nice race, enjoyed it, always well organised. I'd highly recommend these races, because big city ones, great fun, and love them. So that was the spring, and now we're coming into the summer, and as you may know, I came up with the Iron Guru Challenge, which was the 3 events of the Parish Walk, Isle of Man Parish Walk, the Isle of Man Lighthouse Challenge, and the Isle of Man Half Marathon. Now the bib for the Parish Walk I can't find, it's somewhere in my boxes as I've been moving locations and so on, so it's somewhere there, but the Lighthouse Challenge, yeah. But before I go on to the Lighthouse Challenge, I will talk about the Isle of Man Parish Walk. Fantastic walking race. I think it's one of the biggest, longest walking races organised in the world. Yeah, so like the TT Isle of Man racing, you know, the motorbikes, Isle of Man has this fantastic race walk, and you're only allowed to walk, no running is allowed. And for that particular walk, whilst you can walk around the whole island, for me, I certainly learnt about being on my feet. I think I was on my feet for just under 9 hours and completed 32 miles, so it was over 50k. So yeah, does that classify as an ultra? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so whilst I didn't run it, it was pretty painful, because the last many miles from each station stop, we had refueling stops and so on and so forth. But the last but one, so I finished at Peel, but the one before that, from Russian Parish, I basically picked up a blister and had to walk over the Schlock, that famous mountain, up and down over to Peel with some really bad blisters. So being on my feet so long made me blister really badly, but it was a great experience and I did thoroughly enjoy it. And again, it's the kind of race I would really recommend. Something a bit different. For me, one of the best form of cross training is walking. So yes, Carl, when you were doing speed walking beforehand, that's obviously trained you really well for the marathon racing. So I'd highly recommend walking is a great form of cross training, and I really did enjoy that. So it's on to my second part of the challenge, and something that I've not done before is the Lighthouse Challenge 303. Yes, that famous number. Now, thanks to the great people at the bike store who loaned me their bike for the actual race. Yes, it was, because I think the bike that I had might have been a bit of a challenge, but thankfully, thanks to Cycle 360 on the Isle of Man, who loaned me one of their bikes, and it was a fantastic carbon fibre bike. I was able to take part in that challenge, and the only cycling I'd done was a few days before. I think I went out and done a quick little 10 mile out on the bike, but little did that prepare me for the 103 miles, which actually it turned out to be 113 miles on that day, because I had a 5 mile cycle to the start, do the 103 miles, and then the 5 mile cycle back home to where I was staying. So it was an epic challenge, and one that I'll remember forever, because it was fantastic weather, glorious sunshine. But boy, those mountains! Whoa, Isle of Man! I can see why they called it, the TT races, the mountain bike races for the motorbikes, and also there's a mountain bike challenge. But boy, those hills! Woo, woo. And I just loved it. It was great, and yeah, it hurt at some points, but I just went with the flow, and I was really enjoying it and doing some great filming. I think I was the second last person to finish a whole race. So there was three races you could take part in: short, medium, long. And I thought, if you're going to go for it, go for the long one. So I went for the long one, and I really did enjoy that. It was fantastic, great sunny day, met some amazing people, and the beauty when you're out cycling is you can sometimes just freewheel and chat with the person next to you and just soak in the atmosphere. And the scenery out on the Isle of Man is just fantastic. And I know that some of you might be watching this who've already signed up for the Lighthouse Challenge. I know some people who watch the Katie Kookaburra channel. Fantastic lady she is. I've had her on this channel talking about cycling, and I know some guys there, from what they've seen of the vlog, they've signed up for the Lighthouse Challenge as well. So good luck to you guys. You're going to have a great time. I loved it. It was fantastic. I think it was certainly helped by the weather, glorious sunshine, but that was fantastic. So it was on to my final of the Iron Guru Challenge, which was the Isle of Man half marathon. Yeah, 3:07. So for this one, I'd done the training, so I was well into my marathon training, and I was so pumped up for this. I really wanted to go for a new marathon PB, and I think at the time my marathon PB it was around 1:26, so 86 minutes, is it? Yeah, around 86 minutes, somewhere around there, a little bit less than 86 minutes, maybe 10 seconds less. And I thought I could really go for a PB on this, and I felt really good to start, and it was but the weather changed so damn quick, and this is why sometimes it's good to look at the forecast and be prepared. So it was a bit overcast, raining. It was torrential rain in the morning, and I got soaked on my bike ride down to the bus transfer, but I was prepared for that. I had a change of clothing, but I saw the forecast as being cloudy, overcast and cool. But as soon as the race started, clear blue skies, warm. Yeah, so I had no hat on, no sunglasses, no nothing, so I wasn't really prepared for that. But I still went out, all guns blazing, and I felt really good until around mile 4, where I had such a horrendous stitch that it really hurt, and I managed to just crawl round to the finish. And I think I came in around 91 minutes, 1 hour 31, 1 hour 32, somewhere around there, which I was a bit disappointed about, but still pleased to get round. And lesson learnt for me there was not to eat anything, despite it being the smallest of a protein bar or something. I felt hungry, my tummy was rumbling around 8:30, and I knew the race was over an hour away, and I had the smallest of things, but you know, we live and learn, don't we? So I'd certainly learned not to have anything. Despite the tummy rumblings, I should have just gone out there. But the icing on the cake, unsurprised to me, I actually came in with a trophy. Yeah! So yes, I came runner-up in my age category. In the 55 to 60 age category. So despite the stomach cramps and despite not being able to run the best I could, I still came in with that trophy, and that was really nice, and it made me feel really good. So those were the challenges done, and now it was time to come to the A race of the year for me, which was the Chicago Marathon weekend. But to kick things off, first time ever, I done the 5k race before the actual marathon. I've not done this before, and I didn't do it, and it was available at a number of other marathons. It was certainly available at New York, but with the injury I didn't feel like doing that. It was available at Frankfurt Marathon, but again I didn't take that up either. But I thought, let's give it a go and use this just as warm-up, not race it hard, but use it as part of warm-up before the race. And it certainly worked really well. It was a fantastic race. And I got to meet some great people, and yes, the wonderful lifeguard from UK Run Chat. It was great meeting you and meeting other Brits out there and others on there, and of course some of the people, because they could see on the badge here, you can see that Union Jack. So it was only a matter of time before some runners came up to me and says, "Ah, you are the Brexit." Yeah, not quite, but oh, sorry, I slipped in that word in the review of the year. Sorry about that, apologies. So it was great, and I would definitely recommend to, oh, let me check if that works there. Yeah, I just straighten up the mic. So I would recommend the 5k race. It's a great little memento, and well done to the guys who won my 5k memento race, you know, the medal and the hat. So hope you enjoy that, guys. It was a great memory. But then came the day after the race of all races, Chicago Marathon. And A Corral, yeah, Corral A, this was my A race of the year. I mean, this is what I'd been building up to, if anything, sort of before Boston and before New York. All those races are all the build up to this. You know, the start of the day wasn't a particularly pretty day. The Chicago 5k had to be delayed because of torrential rain, lightning storms and so on. Yeah. And getting echoes again of the Boston weather. You know, is this the kind of thing that happens in America all the time? So because the New York race, I forgot to mention, yeah, whilst that was last year, that was raining as well. So is it one of these things that it's always wet, raining and windy at these races? But for me, and this is where I then learnt that Boston Marathon was preparing me for this race, because I know a lot of people were complaining at Chicago that it was wet and windy, and but boy, it was nothing compared to Boston. But for me, I'd overcome that fear of the weather and the extremes, and for me, I just focused on the race. And being in Corral A, it was pretty daunting, because I don't see myself as an elite runner. I'm still a novice, still beginner, but you got all these guys and you can just look at them, you're super athletic, super fit, and they were running round and round that corral doing the warm-ups, and I'm thinking, I've just done my stretches and whatever, but if I was running around here, I would be damn exhausted for the marathon. But that's how they train, that's how and these guys and girls are super fit. And whilst it was a bit daunting, I still kept focused, and I was chatting with some of the guys, and obviously B Corral was just behind me. And as soon as they moved the ropes and the race started, off we went. And there was dozens and dozens, if not hundreds and hundreds of B Corral runners who all went flying past me. And yeah, they all went flying past me. And I think sometimes people forget that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And speaking of marathons, not a sprint. So yeah, it went off, but I had my strategy of going off nice and easy and then picking it up as we went along. And it worked really well. Yes, it was drizzly and windy, but I just got on with it, so to speak, yeah, because for me, I was just there to enjoy the race, and the crowds are fantastic. I just can't put into words how amazing, you know, both New York, Chicago, Boston, these are real standout crowds. I mean, the crowds in London are fantastic, but when you've got numbers like nearly 2 million supporters, I think it was 1.8 million supporters at Chicago, that is an incredible number over that distance, and the noise is just intense, and it just pulls you along. and I was just being pulled along, and I felt fantastic all the way through, up to around mile 20. I think just before I bumped into Nathan. Yeah, you watching this, Nathan? Well, what a highlight that was, that one of my subscribers comes up, "Hey Donato, how you doing?" I'm thinking, ooh, we were coming up to Chinatown, I think it was, and he explained who he was, Nathan, living in Seattle, and one of my subscribers, and we had a good old chat, and I felt great. And he was talking about his stomach cramps, and then I told him how to work through that, and then literally about a mile later I started getting stomach cramps and that to slow down. But these things happen, that's life. But what was fantastic was getting to the finish, and that time of bringing in a new PB and another Boston Marathon qualifier by a long shot. I think I'm half an hour within my Boston Marathon qualifying time. So whilst it's not been technically confirmed, I think it's safe to say, unless there's some new ways of improvement for people in the 55 to 60-year-old, that they'll become super fast in the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever, that they'll qualify as well. It was a fantastic race, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's probably, whilst it's my PB, my personal PB of 3 hours, 6 minutes and 5 seconds, it was just the race itself, it just felt so good, felt effortless. The training, the new training that I brought in and I continue to do, was working really well for me, and it prepared me so well. And for a lot of it, I think all the other races had prepared me for it as well. So it got me all psyched, all prepped and ready, and I loved it. And the people of Chicago were fantastic. Everybody racing there, brilliant. And the volunteers, I mean, there was many clips that I didn't film where the volunteers, there was some bits, the cheer and roars, because there's many parts where I'm just running on my own, and they were just cheering and roaring at me, and I felt this is just incredible. And they were doing it for everybody going through there. It's, I just can't put into words. And for those of you guys who've signed up to the Chicago Marathon for next year, and you're going to have an amazing time. It is absolutely brilliant. And as I said in my little ditty poem, the first time I published something on the YouTube, that Chicago is my kind of town, and it was fantastic. I'd love to go back there again, but there's other races to do for 2019. But before I finished 2018, there was still 2 more races that I had, yeah? The next one, again, another race. This is the bib. This is the Bedford Harriers half marathon. No medal, again, but this is a special one to me for another reason, because again, I was pacing. First time I paced a half marathon, back again to my friend Lawrence, who had a target time, I think it was around 150, 148 or something, but he would have dearly loved to get under 145. So I paced him, and I dressed as Father Christmas. I think the link is up there. And I dressed as Father Christmas because it was December. We're coming up to Christmas, so I have a bit of joviality there. And we had a great time, but little did I know how tough that course. It's undulating, it's hilly, but again, it's beautiful countryside, and I just love running across the countryside, especially with other runners. It was just a fantastic feeling, and Lawrence, bless him, kept going. His pace was steady all the way through. Unfortunately for me, every now and again I would speed up because there's people coming alongside, and it's very marginal, and you can get caught with people and they're going only marginally quicker, and you slightly speed up, and then I'll turn around and I'd lost Lawrence, so I then slow down and pick him up. But when he showed me his Garmin stats, steady pace all the way through. So clearly, Lawrence, you watching this channel, yeah, and learning and training and following through with it, and obviously joining the East London runners has helped you tremendously. So keep that up, Lawrence. We did come in just under the 145 by about 10-15 seconds. So well done, Lawrence, on a sub 145 half marathon in your first half marathon. So keep it going, mate. You're doing brilliant. Which then, after that, came to my final race of the year, which I started with the turkey trot, 318, yeah. Now again, no medal for this. In fact, I was given these. I didn't have to take these. These are for bibs. You can put them on your shirts to clip your bibs onto your shirts. It was optional to take that, so I thought I'd have that. But so it was a bit fortuitous, serendipitous, whatever word you want to call it, that I started the year. The first race was the delayed turkey trot from last year, and then I finished this year racing with the Turkey Trot again, and it's a half marathon. It's a really tough course, but one that it's again beautiful countryside in the Nottinghamshire county. I really love it, and the organisation is fantastic. And the thing what I really love about it, it's all the money goes to the first Keyworth Scout group. All the money goes there, so all the other organisation and costs are paid by sponsors. We even get turkeys provided by Co-op, the local Co-op. I don't know who gives the prizes, but it was a great race, and one where I put into a particular plan to see how the training, because I'd already started my base training ready for Boston this coming April. So I wanted to get out and see how is my running now in preparation, because this week is 16 weeks to Boston Marathon, and so the real training now starts for Boston. Well, I could say it started, I think it was Christmas Eve was the very first day of the 16-week training plan for Boston. But this was a good way to see how are my legs, how are we doing, how's things ticking over. And I had a new set of trainers. You may have seen that I had the Freedom ISO 2 races, I think the white noise version. So it's the first time I went out racing in those, and the whole race felt fantastic. I wasn't racing it hard, I was racing it at a certain pace, and then went out hard for I think the last 3 miles. So that's how I raced it, and I came in a fantastic time of, I think it was 92 and a bit minutes, so 1 hour 26 and something, 1 hour 26 and something, and I didn't realise I was literally, I think I was about 20 seconds off my PB. So whilst this year I didn't PB on a half marathon, I didn't really have any major half marathon races that I could really go for, apart from the Isle of Man half marathon where I got that stitch. But these things happen, so I didn't PB, but those were all my races of the year, and it's been a fantastic year. So whilst those were the races, I also did take part in a couple of park runs, which are timed 5k runs here in the UK, and I think they're all over the world. But I took part in a couple, and I came in with a park run PB of 18 minutes and 19 seconds, which I was really overjoyed with. And I think the age grading is something like 85–86% age grading, which is pretty high and makes me feel fantastic. You know, I suddenly realised whilst I may not win these particular timed runs or races, that I'm up there, you know, for my age group. It's quite amazing, and I really do feel great to know that it's inspiring some of you guys to know that you're never too old to do this kind of stuff. We can come in whatever ages we may be, whether we be in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever age, 80s, 90s, whatever age we are, we can all keep running and all keep enjoying this. So that's in summary of those, and as I say, it's been one of those years, you know, ups and downs, but that's life, isn't it? Life is full of ups and downs, and running is no different. And whilst I have a quick sip of this tea, because I'm pretty dried out here. So whilst, you know, it's been full of ups and downs, for me it's been a fantastic year. And yes, the PB, the parkrun PB of 18 minutes 19 seconds, the marathon PB has got to be the highlight in terms of the racing calendar. 3 hours 6 minutes 5 seconds for a guy my age with my running experience is nothing short of remarkable, and I'm really pleased about that. But the best thing of 2018 has been you guys, and the way this channel has grown, and the feeling that we've grown, and the support that you've given. And as I was saying from at the beginning, the comments, those wonderful heartfelt comments that I got from yesterday's vlog about why I continue to share my running journey with you guys, and I hope to continue to share this journey with you through 2019. It's been an amazing year, and one that I can't put into words, and my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you guys and girls who watch these vlogs and are inspired in some way, motivated, whatever, that it gets us out there, it gets us active, gets us running, whatever it gets you out there doing, cycling, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, the fact is just getting out there and enjoying it And if by you guys coming here and watching these each and every day, week, month, whenever you watch these, because we are free to watch whenever we want, and yeah, that's right, it's fantastic, and you guys and girls do make this channel. It's fantastic, and I hope to continue this through 2019. Let's see what the new year brings. Yeah, I've got some amazing stuff. Yeah, Boston is my next A race, and I'm seriously looking forward to that. Yes, there's going to be some other races in between. I've got one this week, which I'm looking forward to, and there are others that I've got booked, which are part of the training towards Boston Marathon. But yeah, and then who knows after that? I've got nothing booked after Boston, I don't think. No, I've got nothing booked. I've got some outline ideas, plans, but it's depending on where certain friends' families are, where they are in the world as well, so there might be some travelling involved. Obviously I will be travelling over to the States, and if you are in Boston, I really do look forward to seeing you out there. It'd be great to meet up and do some vlogging. I might be doing some more interviews as well with some runners, non-runners, cyclists, whatever, whoever wants to come on. Yeah, do you want to come on? Leave a comment below if you want to come on the channel, and we'll have a chat live. Yeah, so thank you so much guys. I could be talking on forever in a day about what an amazing year 2018 has been for me. It's been fantastic. I hope it's been a good one for you, and if it hasn't been, hopefully it's one that you've learnt. As I say, I learnt a hell of a lot from the first part, from the injuries and setbacks I was getting at the beginning of the year. I've learnt from those and moved those forward, and learnt to listen more better to my body and to take things forward. So thank you so much for taking the time to watching this. This has been an epic long vlog, I think. I don't know how long it is, because with the interruptions of the phone ringing, the battery going flat, the memory card filling up, hey, it's been one epic vlog. So what a way to finish the year. Thank you all so much guys. I really do love producing these, editing these, putting these out to you guys, and sharing my running journey with you all. And I so look forward to 2019, whatever it may bring for you, for me, and for all of us. Whatever will be, will be. Que sera, sera. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, New Year's Day. So whatever you are, whatever you do, stay safe and enjoy bringing in the new year. Bye. Whew. Oh wow, what a year. I didn't expect it to take that long, did you? Whew. Gosh, how many minutes is that? I've got no idea. Just the last one was 25 minutes long, so if you add it all up, ooh, could this be an hour long review? Did you watch it all? Leave some comments below if you watched every minute of the 1 hour. I'd love to hear from you, because I know a lot of you guys do skip forward and back. Yeah, I do know that, but it's understandable. But did you watch the whole review? Yeah. Oh, let's go for a run. Hey.